Hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. It's your girl, Kamie Crawford. And today, one of my favorite topics, we have Kate Van Horn in the building. She is a psychic, a tarot reader, and author of The Inner Tarot. Kate, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. What an intro. I love it.
I don't know if you know, maybe you do, how cool your job is.
I get that a lot.
Like,
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it so much.
if I could give it all up and do what you do, I think I would.
I bet you could too.
I'm very intuitive.
I was going to say, I have a feeling you are. I'm sure we'll get into it today.
Oh, we're definitely getting into it. I would love to. I just feel like it's such a gift to be able to give to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know, I have so many questions, but how did this all start for you?
Yeah. So it started, I definitely knew I was fairly intuitive and very sensitive at a very young age. And I was always just like fascinated. And the first time I picked up a deck of tarot cards, I was like immediately in love with the practice. I wanted to know everything. And I had been looking for something to honestly give me more purpose. And I just found them really beautiful and validating. And I think that that is my favorite part of my job.
Yeah.
Is being able to say, you are exactly where you need to be. And I promise you, this is going to alchemize into something more beautiful and different. So yeah, being able to offer that like confirmation is really what it's about for me.
Yeah. Even with like psychic abilities, I feel like, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like everyone, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people have the power to tap into psychic abilities, and they just don't. Either like they hold themselves back from it, or they don't really know how to open themselves up to it.
Absolutely.
Right?
We all have an intuition.
Yeah.
Because it's really a safety mechanism too, like to allow us to feel safe and protected, to know what's right for us and what's wrong. But in addition to that, like the psychic part is really about such deep self-trust that a lot of us are afraid to go there. It's a lot of inner child work. It's a lot of like uncovering some of the programming and the conditioning that we've learned over the course of our lives. So that's scary. Like it's a deep dive into your own energy first before you can really like see it for other people. So yeah, I think that's why a lot of people, you know, put psychics on this like different level or even pedestal, when in reality they have the same gifts. It's just a matter of like being willing to go there.
That's so true. I feel like a lot of people, I mean, even in, I guess within cultures as well, some cultures it's like very acceptable and like understood that, you know, spirit exists, it's praised, it's like, you know, it's like celebrated. And then in others, you know, not so much. Like I'm a Black woman, I'm Christian, and I feel like it's like very taboo to talk about these things. And
Absolutely.
even within my own family, when I talk about astrology or tarot or psychics or mediums or anything like that, there are people in my family who give me some pushback. And I'm like, it's like, it's very woo-woo to them, or like, you know, not of God.
Absolutely.
Quote unquote.
The religious shame is a real thing.
Yes.
That I've worked with a lot of clients around. And it's hard. And I mentioned that as well. Like, I think that expedited my process to like making this my career is I didn't have a lot of that. Like growing up, we didn't have any kind of organized religion per se. And my mom was very spiritual. Like in, you know, we were howling at the moon. So
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So I'd say like, yeah, that was a bit of a leg up in the sense that I didn't have to move some of that out of the way either, like unblock the fear, the shame around it.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Keeps you open.
Keeps you open.
Yeah. All possibilities. So yes, I feel like for myself, I have always grown up having this feeling of, I don't know if it's just like intuitiveness, but like when people pass, like just feeling an overwhelming sense of calm afterwards, or like feeling their presence with me.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful, but it did scare me when I was younger, because I was like, what does this mean? But I feel like there was a point in my young life where I could have like tapped into it further, and I was too scared to. Now I'm at a place where it's not necessarily that I want to tap into it, but I can support and believe and celebrate it in other people.
Okay, I love that.
If that makes sense.
Totally. You uplift others who have
Yes.
it. I think too, like, you know, as a kid or a young adult, it does feel overwhelming. It feels like sensory overload for many people. And it also feels like it's really, you know, the conversation is usually about what's outside of us. But psychic and intuitive gifts are really within us as well. It's from the inside out, the core root of our being, our soul, and how we express it, creatively, how we show up in our lives, how we follow like our alignment, we find the right relationships. So when we kind of flip the script and take the lens back towards like our own personal growth and healing and how our intuition can enhance that, I think that's a lot less intimidating as well.
Right. Yeah. I think it's very empowering.
Absolutely.
I feel like when we take I don't know, how do you feel about the word occult? Because I feel like that's associated with tarot, but I feel like the word has been demonized in a way that is
absolutely
so far to another side that it's like you can't kind of group everything together the same. I don't know.
It's
what do you
hard.
think?
It's complex because I think social media adds this almost like sometimes kind of performative element of something, practices that are meant to feel very sacred and intimate. So I think that's one aspect. For my personal brand and story with tarot, I found it to be really meaningful to me to strip any of the jargon away and talk about it as a tool and as a storytelling practice, and just remove any of the like kind of witchy ties.
Yeah.
Because that softened it and also felt more authentic to me. So over my, years of reading, it's really been about elevating the practice, simplifying it, and making it a system that feels sophisticated, because we praise the things that feel, aspirational, and we look down on things that feel whatever.
Yeah.
Dark and scary. And the reality is it can be both. There's no doubt it brings up pretty complex like themes, and there's definitely some cards that are more daunting than others, but all of it sophisticated, beautiful, nuanced, and something to kind of look at with that lens. So I prefer not to use those terms just because I think it immediately puts us in a really defensive space.
That makes a lot of sense. I do see, like, obviously on TikTok and stuff like that, you'll scroll and people will be surrounded by 1,000 candles and like doing a lot, and like
if that's you,
yeah, do you. But
absolutely.
I can appreciate that that's not your style.
Absolutely.
I heard you say, I listened to you on Caitlin Bristow's podcast, and I heard you talk about how you've used tarot as like therapy for yourself for things that you went through in your life. Do you mind sharing about that?
Yeah. So I was diagnosed first with an eating disorder when I was 19. I went to treatment for that. And later in my early 20s with complex PTSD from sexual abuse that I had experienced at a young age. And that was really hard to sit with. And it was certainly, I'm very like mindful to not say that I healed through specifically spirituality. But when facing that and when working through those wounds and working with therapists in really pretty, profound ways, I was navigating the trauma and trying to find out like, well, why was this my story at all? Like, why did this have to happen to me, essentially? And slowly but surely, spirituality and like, connecting to God, source, whatever, was my way of kind of coming back to myself and rediscovering parts of me that were once broken, but now building and becoming more resilient. And tarot, when I found it, it just felt like this really feminine complement to what I was moving through in therapy. Like what we were doing was so clinical in tone, and it was needed, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I wanted something that felt in my hands a little bit because I felt out of control as a victim of abuse. So to work with the cards and to let it be playful and to let my inner child have fun with it just felt like such a freeing moment. And then, everything just started to kind of activate from there.
Yeah. Wow. I love how you take something that's so, deeply, deeply personal. And thank you for sharing that and make it something that's...
It's all in the book.
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. But something that is more about you, like taking your own power back in a way.
Making it your superpower, essentially.
Right. How did you even go about, because like I love a good tarot card reading. A tarot card reading told me that and a psychic told me that I was going to meet my boyfriend. Yeah. And like what was going to happen in my career. I literally yesterday, typically when I see tarot card readers on TikTok, I scroll past it because when they're like, Scorpios, this is for you. And I'm a Scorpio. So I'm like...
So you are intuitive.
I am. Yeah. Just by nature. But like I'll see some and I'll just like keep scrolling because I'm like, oh, these aren't like my people that I follow, that like I trust. But something yesterday, I scrolled past a girl and something told me to go back and look. And it was so on point that I sent it to my sisters. I sent it to my cousin. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have those moments.
Absolutely.
But then I feel like there's a lot of...
And you'll know. Your body kind of tells you,
Yeah.
oh, this isn't for me. And you just scroll past.
No
But when
shade.
it's...
Just like a lot of hacks. There's a lot of hacks on
There's a lot
social
going
media. There's a lot going on.
A lot of clickbait going on.
Right.
Which is like, you know, in a way, sometimes I think about that though, and I'm like, it is helping people become more comfortable with this practice. So I do see a space for it. It's just gotten a little redundant. But when you know, you know. And I do believe that. Like a collective reading, which is what that is, a group reading for like multiple people, it can definitely, you know, connect and resonate for you. But not every single one will.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you go about learning what each of the cards mean? I mean, I feel like it's probably like anything else, but like every card means something so different.
It does.
And like in combination, like I love watching tarot card readers at work. It's the same reason why I love astrologers at work. Like when you know, like, oh, this is a this and this is a oh, and these two together, oh, well, somebody's coming and they're gonna bring this. And how do you like?
Yeah. I'm going to answer this in like two parts.
Oh my
God,
yes.
The first being like, if anyone listening is a true beginner, absolute beginner with their tarot deck, I recommend splitting it up into sections. So there's like the major arcana and the minor. So split that up, leave the majors behind because they're very big. They're very, like they're bigger archetypal themes in the deck. They are definitely full of symbolism. They can feel more complex, more daunting.
What's an example of one of those?
An example is like the High Priestess, the Magician. Okay. So those are kind of like our overarching like life story lessons. They're also kind of like our spirit guides. They're our teachers. They are the wise ones that we're looking to. So they can be a lot at first to tackle. So the minor arcana, which is split into 4 suits, those are like more our everyday experiences, the people we're connecting with, the work that we're doing, the money that we're spending, that type of stuff. So
is that like the cups?
Exactly. The cups, the pentacles. The
pentacles.
You got it. You know
the pentacles.
So starting there and recognizing like some of this is going to be, you know, similar to what I see in my everyday life. So it's going to be easier to learn them. Learning things like the elements, the 4 elements and the different kind of energy of each of those and the 4 suits. I break it all down in my book, but also numerology, recognizing like what an ace means compared to an 8 in the deck. It's all going to start to become like layers that you're creating within your reading process. So even though there are like individual themes for all 78 cards, there's also a lot of overlap of like the system itself. So as you break down the system, you get more comfortable. Is that a lot to hear?
No, I love it. I'm so fascinated. It's like,
a puzzle.
I get very like hyper fixated on things.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm gonna go down like a tarot deck.
Well, I'm here for all your questions.
Like wormhole, because I just love. I feel like over COVID, I jokingly say that I became a witch because I just became obsessed with everything, like crystals. Anything having to do with spirituality, healing. I feel like when you're really when you need it and you're in like a vulnerable place to receive it, it will come to you and like you have space to open yourself up to it more.
Absolutely.
And that was like when I reached out to a psychic and a tarot card reader, and I had never done that before. Yeah. But it changed so many things for me. I'm sure you've had experiences like that where you've like changed someone's literal life with your readings.
I hope so. I certainly hope so. I think it really inspires empowered action. You know, it's like because you're out of your normal day to day, you're not chatting with your best friends in the group text, you're not talking to your partner about the same thing over and over again. Someone, you know, a third party who has no idea what's going on with you was able to tap into and sense your energy and validate, you know, what you desire, what you long for. Yeah. It's like, oh, that must be real. Like that's not something I'm making up. That's something I really want. Which means I have to go get it or do it.
Yeah. Do you ask for anything in particular before you do a reading from someone? Like, do you need particular information from them?
I don't need it. It's better. You'll get a better and more direct answer if you have a clear intention. So that could be as simple as I'm open to changes in my career, what's coming up. Or it could be very specific. I mean, it depends. I think people are very hesitant to give a reader too much. But what you're doing is actually prolonging us getting to the meat of the reading. Context is key. So for anyone, again, listening who's like, I'm ready to see a reader, I'm curious, I have my eye on someone online who just I feel really congruent with what they're sharing. give them a little bit. I think you'll have a lot more powerful of a experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point, because I do feel like people hold back because they're like, I'm not going to tell them my name, because if I tell them my name, then they're going to Google me, or
But
like,
then
you know.
you're also like kind of setting it up to be a chase,
Mm-hmm.
you know, towards your energy. And also, like, say we did get on a call and I was like, you know, I see you have 2 dogs and these are their names. Does that really help you in any way? Like, yeah, it proves to you that I'm psychic or that I'm tapping into something and connecting with your energy, but it's not giving you any like next steps.
Yeah.
It's
right.
just kind of validating your nerves of if it's working or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When was the first moment that you realized that you were psychic?
When I was like feeling a lot of ghosts. And I don't really do that anymore. That was what was coming through. I would walk into a space. I'm very sensitive to spaces. And
I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just was like, ooh, something's here. And then I started to kind of feel more like, is it male or female? What is their energy like? Who were they like? And that freaked me out. And it was around that same time that I had been practicing for myself, like pulling cards and feeling like my intuitive gifts were coming online, so to speak. And I had a couple friends who were astrologers and in the space as well. I was working in wellness as a whole, but I wasn't practicing as like an intuitive. So I had people I knew in my network, and they like would pull me aside and be like, Kate, it's happening. Like you're channeling. And I just needed that confirmation from someone else, I think. And then as I started to like practice more diligently and protect my energy, I learned how to do that. It changed. It didn't feel so daunting or scary. It wasn't like as much of like moving into a haunted space. It was like, okay, I'm okay here.
That's such a real thing. I love that you say that you read cards, people, and spaces,
Yeah.
because there is something to that. I have walked in a space and people will think I'm joking when I say like someone's died here. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I can feel it. I can feel it. It's not necessarily like I see them, or it's the energy.
Yes.
Like, and I get so depleted energetically very, very easily around people who are draining of my energy, but even just like emotional spaces.
Yeah.
I like, for example, I went to Tyler Henry. He's a medium. He had a show in well, I guess I don't know, it was a show. I guess I would call it a show. Where he did he did readings at like live in New Jersey, and my sister and I went. It was incredible. It was incredible. But I left feeling so exhausted. Like, and not just because I was tired, because I went in there like ready to go. It was the emotional energy from everyone in the room, what he was doing. I felt like someone had like sucked the life force out of my body.
Yeah.
But it's not like I was doing the readings. I didn't feel what he was getting, obviously. His work is on another fucking level.
He's incredible. He's really skilled.
He's so good. He's so good. And I wish people like who are skeptics of anything having to do with spirit or tarot or anything, I wish that they could meet people like you in real life and like just understand this is a real person who like has a gift. It's a gift.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It truly is. It truly is. But I know that feeling of like going into a space, or even
It
like
hits you.
Yes, even as, you know, in college, going to parties and stuff like that, I would be the one to be like to my friends, like, we need to leave now.
Yeah.
Like, we have to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would leave and something would happen. And I'd be like,
Don't
see?
Don't say
I'm always right. I told y'all this is going to happen. But like, I can't place it. I just feel it. And is that psychic? What is that?
It is. I think in general, like, our psychic abilities sometimes come through as an alarm. Don't go here. Get out of here. But I think where it kind of heads into the next level, and the ability to maybe hold space in the way Tyler does, or I do, or other psychics do, is when you start to express it from a place of joy and creativity and co-creation as well. So it's not just, oh shit, excuse me, I gotta get out of here.
Relationship, girl. You can curse.
That's true. But it's like, you know, not just let me get out of here, but also let me lean into this. This feels really good. I feel really safe. I'm trusting this right now.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to express it. But, you know, in just to kind of close what Tyler does too, like, that is, mediumship's a whole other ballgame. Like, it sprinkles into my readings, but I realized very quickly that is not my style and what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Even though I respect it because it's incredible and it brings people so much closure, but it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's very, very heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy. I think as far as like making it creative and joyful, for me, ways that I've been able to use being an intuitive person is like, you know, decisions for my career. Like,
Yes.
I know which one. I'm very decisive. I'm like, no, not this. Yes, this. If I even have a sprinkle of doubt and I go with the thing that I have doubt about, I'm proven right every single time that I shouldn't have done the thing.
Yeah.
But then as far as like protection, I definitely feel that, where I'll be like driving and I'll be like, don't make a left here. Make the next left. I don't know why, but I listen to it.
Yeah, I think from what you're describing, it feels like you're very clairaudient. Like, it almost feels like you just have this, like, she's like, this voice in your head and
Yes.
knowing. And
Yeah.
it probably sounds like your own voice, which is why a lot of us say, no, those are just my thoughts. But if it's just this gentle whisper that's like, I think it's best to do this, it could certainly be your clairaudience.
Hello to my Clairaudience, all of you. I'll make a podcast for you too. Wow, okay. I can't wait to tell my mom that I have a Clairaudience, or I am clairaudient.
Clairaudient.
Yeah. Okay, good. I want to be right when I say it. Wait, what's your sign?
I'm a Capricorn.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Do you know your big three?
Yes. Virgo rising, Capricorn. I have a Capricorn stellium. So I have like 6 placements in Capricorn.
Oh, she's Capricorn down.
Yeah.
Wow, very earthy.
Very earthy.
Wow.
Very, very earthy. Yeah.
That makes sense because you are very grounding.
Thank you.
Grounded.
I get that a lot, and I appreciate it, and I'm very grateful because I think my clients feel good in my presence. But it's so funny because I have a Gemini moon, so inside there's a lot going on.
Oh.
There's a lot of feelings.
There's a lot of feelings, but I'm also a Virgo rising, so
okay.
We're with each other on that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I told our listeners, the besties, that you were coming, and they want
the cards.
They want the cards.
Of course they do.
I want the cards,
As they
but
should.
I'm not going to be selfish. I've
I'll
already
definitely
discovered.
get you a reading at some
I'm
point.
definitely doing it here today. I have already discovered that I am clairaudient, so I've gotten my little piece of the day. But the rest of the people, they need their things. So, are you ready?
I'm excited. I'm nervous.
What?
No, not really, but like a little. Like, you don't know what you're gonna get,
Do you
and
get
I'm here for
nervous?
it.
Have you ever done a reading and gotten like nervous about it?
Oh, absolutely. I actually think you should. I think you should have a tinge of like, because it's very vulnerable. You're about to read someone, and you could be wrong. And I'm not going to say that I've never been slightly off. It happens. And I think that is where some humility comes in too, because like with reading cards, reading people, reading energy, there's a lot of power there too.
Yeah.
You should really keep that in check as a reader. You don't have all the answers, so you should be a little nervous.
That's very Capricorn of you to say. Keep that shit in check.
Keep it in check.
Okay. Here's the first one.
Let's hear it.
Hi, Bestie. I hope you're able to give me some guidance. I've gone through a tumultuous breakup 2 years ago from an extremely abusive partner. I haven't found anybody now, and it's been a while. I've gone through a tumultuous 2 years, losing my dad and my dog, and I'm just wondering, when am I going to find some partnership and a good man?
So it's interesting because I pulled the 3 of Swords right as you started playing that. The 3 of Swords is a card of trauma and trauma responses.
Wow.
So she understandably has gone through deep grief, deep pain and hurt from this previous relationship. As far as when, I'm always very mindful of not doing timelines to get people too fixated on that. But the Chariot card is here. I think she has a lot of what's coming through too with the King of Pentacles is like somatic techniques to recognize that she might be mentally over it, the relationship, the hardship of it, it sounds like it was abusive in tone, toxic. So like mentally, she's gotten through it. She understands where it came from, how it happened, whatever. We've gotten that all set. But with the King of Pentacles reversed in the Chariot, there's something somatic to move through. Meaning like the cells of our body, our bones can still be there. We can still be pulled back to that time, even though mentally and our vision is looking forward, our body's feeling differently. So, and after grief and loss of, her father, like I think just finding ways to soothe the body so that there's more safety would be step one.
You're good, Kate. That was very good.
Thank you.
Wow. How do you... And that's the thing. It's like you just like 1 + 1 = 2.
Duh. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, but like you know it. Because like you do this. This is what you do.
No, I mean, I look at them, and for me, the cards, like, you know, you'll notice I'll look at them a lot because they just help kind of ground me. Because I'm so comfortable with them, they're like my security blanket. Yeah, I read them. I read the meaning of them. If you look up all of these cards, there's an element of what I just said. But they tap me in a way that, like, I can relax and just channel what I think needs to come through.
Wow. Ah. I love that. Oh, that's such a gift.
Thank you.
What? If I had access to this information, I would
You
be
do.
doing this every day.
You do. Just get a deck.
I need to get a fucking deck.
Do you not have one?
No.
I'll send you tons of different ideas.
God, my boyfriend's going to get so sick of
He's
me.
going to be like, what is another Amazon package?
He's going to be like, what should we have for dinner? I'm going to be like, let's see what the cards
Oh,
say.
actually, I recommend that, though.
Really?
Because people are always asking about really, really big questions, which like can't be solved in a day. But when you're learning the cards, you have to be pulling pretty frequently. So I would be like, what should I wear? And like, you know, if it's like a red color, I'm like, all right, I'll grab a red top. Like, why not? Just let them be kind of playful. And,
yeah. It doesn't have to be like big, you know, life moments. Oh, I love that. Okay, here's the next one.
Hi, bestie. This is Sophia. It's okay to use my first name. But I have never been in a relationship. I'm 28 years old, and I feel like I have a lot of success in my career. I have a great apartment. I have wonderful friends, and I'm just starting to really like accept that I might be alone forever, which is honestly fine because protect my peace. But I would like to know if there's anything in the cards for me from the tarot card reader for maybe the love of my life. Thank you. Bye, bestie.
Bye, bestie. Is the love of her life coming?
I love the way it's like, I'm at peace if I'm never with someone, but where's the love of my
Yeah,
life?
right. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Like, so,
yes.
and that's where I love this question so much. I call my clients out on that. You're saying one thing and you're energetically showing up that you want something else. So let's get them together. Let's get them to match. First of all, there's the card judgment is here, and sometimes we are our biggest critics, and there is a bit of judgment that I can feel that she's had of herself, of her path so far. Why isn't he here, or why haven't they shown up? Trying to release that judgment, and I have 3 cards that have to do with vision and planning and manifestation, honestly, through meditation. So my recommendation for her would be to sit with and really try to tap into that vision of like, what does this relationship look like? What type of person am I going to be in this relationship with my love of my life? What are they like? How do they show up? And start to act and move from whatever you saw. Like if she saw herself doing a specific thing or showing up in her habits a certain way, start to do that. Work backwards. And be like, who am I in that relationship and how do I become that right now?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes. I talk a lot on the podcast about like making a list of,
Yes.
For me, I made a list before I met my boyfriend. First I said what I want in a man, and then I erased that and changed it to what will find me.
Yes.
And I made it very intentional and very like, he's already here. These are the qualities that he has. And I kid you not, every single thing on my list is exactly what my boyfriend is, with the exception of I said that he must love dogs, and he doesn't love dogs. He likes them, but he doesn't love them.
Yeah.
Which is a fatal flaw. I
It
should
is.
break up with him.
No. You're letting it go. But it was a big one. It was a big one.
It's a big one.
I-
But like, could that be something that she could do?
Absolutely. Like, I think it's like, rather than, and I understand why she's doing it, this protection of like, well, I have wonderful things in my life, an incredible career, a great apartment, but maybe this won't be for me. No. To even speak those words and say that and put it into existence, I don't know if that's the way to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Manifest that shit, bestie. If you want it, like, I agree.
Say it one way, which
Say it
is
one
I'm
way.
ready for him.
Yes.
And I'm going to be the person I'm going to need to be in order to attract him. That's one thing with the list. I've done it as well, and it works. It absolutely works. But sometimes with my clients who have a very specific list, I'll say under each line item, what are you going to do or give in that relationship? And they're like, I might need to revise my list.
Yeah. That's honestly, that's fair. That's a good point. I do think you have to be working on you in the meantime. And I feel like, could the judgment card be like self-esteem or self-confidence
Yes,
based?
judgment of, the path so far, the self-esteem piece is huge, but the judgment card, I'm glad you bring that up, especially because the world is at the bottom of the deck. It's the second to the last card in the deck. So it's usually showing up when we're kind of doing our final clearing of energetic gunk that's still there. There is an element of a lot of hope because the world is the last card. It's kind of the finale. It's when we find the success, we see all the pieces come together. So from a timeline perspective, if we're looking at the system of tarot, she's kind of at that final push. Yeah.
It's coming. But you gotta let your old shit go.
Yeah, the Lovers.
The Lovers. Did it just came up?
I just pulled it up.
See, it's coming.
It's coming. But she's got to speak it as if it's coming, as
Yes.
truth. The Justice card, like it's truth.
Yes. Speak it as if it were. That's my motto. Okay, here we go. The next one. This person says, "Anonymous, please. I just came off of my birth control like Queen Kamie. Hey, Queen. We're both struggling together. And I'm having a rough time anxiety-wise. I'm pushing myself to live my life, but I would really love a sign that everything is going to be okay and that I'm going to come out of this stronger than ever. Thank you, Kamie. Love the pod. Thank you, bestie."
It's coming through that she really, so I have the Lovers card and the Two of Cups. So no matter what her like relationship status is, I'm seeing this as sometimes the Lovers and the Two of Cups, they're both about partnership, but they can also be the relationship we have with a part of ourselves, a part of us that's really sacred. And I'm almost, as soon as you shared that, her question, I heard like her higher self told her she needed to do this. And like, even though the body, Four of Pentacles reversed, is re-regulating right now, that's the physical. Something told her it was time. And she can absolutely trust King of Wands that she made the right choice confidently in the moment, and her body's just going to re-regulate. The Lovers card is also a card of like decisions that are more emotional rather than logical. So whatever it was a gut feeling for her. And that's the most feminine thing you can do, is to remember like, my body knows, my body will tell me.
It's fascinating.
How it comes through.
Yes.
Yeah. Kind of the process of it.
Yes.
I love that you're enjoying like witnessing like the process.
I also love just like, I don't know how this when a card just like flies out.
Yeah, the flyers.
You're like, oh, this is what it is. This is what it says.
It's helpful when I'm talking to a client and I'm kind of like shuffling and one comes out. I'm like, yes, retweet what they said.
Oh my God, I love that.
It's fun.
Ah! Wow. Do you have to do like a special process with your cards before you do, like, because some people
reading,
like pray over them or sage them or something?
So what I do is I protect my energy first. My readings are not strictly tarot. My full process involves like a meditation beforehand, a lot of channeled writing. That's actually something I see in other psychics, Tyler included. He like doodles and draws a lot. That activates a lot. So especially if you are clairaudient, taking time to like write what's coming through for you. I do a bit of meditation. So I kind of blend all different modalities. And then when I'm in the session with someone, I deliver the messages that came through. We talk about them, and then I pull more cards to keep going.
Wow. It's iconic. It really is. Oh, wow. There's a lot of questions here.
I can imagine.
I had only pulled from one part of our DMs, but okay. There's a lot. This next one. Someone says, "My boyfriend and I are on a break. Are we going to work things out?" I don't believe in breaks. Just break up with them. Move on to the next person.
Can we talk about this for a second? Can we talk in general about, wow, Three of Swords.
It's over.
It's
done.
Let's talk about something. Let's get real on Relationshit.
Yes.
And I say this with like so much love because I have been the person asking the cards. If you have to ask, it's not great.
And that's so true.
If you like, I knew my husband was my husband because I was like forgetting to pull cards about. I didn't have anything to ask. And I don't say that to invalidate the connection. Whatever the relationship they had was probably beautiful, full of lessons. This is not invalidating the connection. It's saying that something's off. Probably. Confirmed by the Three of Swords. Your listeners are going to hate me by the end of this.
No.
Five of Swords. I think both of them were showing up from places of self-sabotage rather than like their true essence. So sometimes taking a break allows you to reset and realign. It's not a hell no, but it certainly wasn't working the way it was working. To get to this place of needing a break, and the cards that are coming up, it was only going to get more messy. So whether we decide to make peace with the break and it ends up being an ending, or it's the pause that saved us from really getting messy and hurt, both are a gift.
Listen, I don't know the cards, bestie, but the swords coming up twice and it increased in the numbers. I don't think it's sounding
The
very good.
Hermit. It's a time for solitude right now. It's a gift to have this space for yourself. I know in the moment the last thing you want to hear is that, and she can certainly roll her eyes. I don't blame her. I've been there. But yeah, the energy is reading as this is the best thing for your healing right now.
You need to focus on yourself. The swords are saying.
Sword said it.
Swords said it. Someone said, is there a baby in my future?
Oh, spirit baby is one of my favorite things to work on.
Really?
Yeah, I love it. Because our inner mother and our inner child have to be kind of working as a team to prepare for that. And I love that.
Oh.
Two of Swords, it almost feels like logistics. Feel like timing, well, where is this going to happen? But the feeling of wanting a child feels very much there. Try not to get too fixated on like the details and the specifics. There's the moon, there's this intuitive and very natural primal part of us that it happens when it's meant to happen. And sometimes we as planners, try to get too fixated on that or who it's with or whatever.
Wow.
Don't know kind of the status of where they are in the process, but just because you don't see how it's going to work right in this moment doesn't mean it's not absolutely meant for you.
Does the moon in tarot have anything to do with like the moon in astrology, which is like about home and
it can
family?
It's more Pisces related. It's more about our subconscious and our like intuition, our subconscious mind, our connection to kind of the darker shadows of our being and being comfortable with that. But it's also like the moon reminds me of the womb, sacral energy. So it's very feminine in tone, and it's a creative kind of force. But yeah, right now, whoever or whatever's in her life doesn't feel like it makes sense, and that's okay. Doesn't mean that it's not for you. It's just you need more information.
You just need more information. That's it. Oh, well, this is not a card question, I guess, but someone said the tarot community on TikTok seems to be getting really big. How do I know which readings to trust?
Well, we kind of touched on this. If it feels good, if it feels like, if you have to kind of change the message to work for you, it's probably not your message. That's okay. Just keep scrolling. You can appreciate too. You can watch a reader and just enjoy their way of expressing their craft. If that entertains you, very cool. It's a great way to look at it. But you'll kind of know. It's going to be a light bulb moment.
Right. I agree with that. I agree with that. Someone said, oh, well, this is another one.
Interesting one.
Am I supposed to be with the man I spent 14 years of my life with?
Currently with?
Yeah.
Assuming?
Yeah.
I mean, Queen of Wands, bestie in your terms. Bestie, like, this is what you're doing right now. So I'm assuming, like if you've spent 14 years, I guess you can trust your gut there.
14 years is a long time.
14 years is a long time.
That's
and
a
if we're
whole
getting
life.
to a change, if you like, there's definitely this creative, passionate energy. Like it almost feels like other things are of interest to her right now. And I'm not necessarily talking about other people. I'm talking about like she's evolving. So now she's questioning. But to say that the last 14 years were for nothing, no, certainly not. But you're coming into maybe this new personal power, so now you're curious how that's going to affect your relationship. That's how it reads when I see Queen of Wands. It's more about like a passion and a intensity coming from within, that she maybe has new hobbies, interests, things that don't feel as in alignment with this person. But can you grow together?
Yeah.
I see that a lot. I see that a lot from women who kind of go down the spiritual rabbit hole and in an amazing way start to do what you did in 2020 of like getting kind of witchy and getting really into it. And then they bring that to their partner and their partner's not as into it.
Oh my God, my ex was like, this is, what did he say? He said he met somebody that was telling him about crystals being of the devil and that I was like doing some weird shit. And I was like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I broke up with him.
There you go. But I think like if it just like that was your answer.
Yeah.
But I think like your partner doesn't have to get it either. So I'm not saying this is necessarily what's going on with her, but it feels like something new has kind of started to light her up.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, does that mean my relationship is not lighting me up? And that's an answer for you to ask yourself. Yeah.
No, that's very, very real. You have to be with someone who can go through the evolution of things with you. Oh, someone It says, when will my boyfriend propose? From your dearest Cancer. Cancer's just trying to build a home.
Literally, they just want to get cozy.
They just want to start
come
nesting.
on. You know, I just said I wouldn't do timeline. I can and I will do it in this case, but it's not my favorite thing to do.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see.
There's a lot of cards being pulled, bestie. I don't know if it's happening this year.
I don't know if it is. It might be. We're looking at March of next year was what came through. Definitely in the upcoming year, next year. It's not for a little bit.
See, I told you it wasn't happening this year.
Yeah,
next year, though.
You had a feeling.
Next year, though, you'll be, see, it's my Clairaudience.
Yeah.
I just know stuff.
You read the context clues when I'm like, flipping.
I just know stuff. I just do. Okay, I love all of you, and I'm so glad that you wrote. I'm want to get to mine now.
I love it. Let's do
I've
it.
waited very patiently.
Yes, you have.
Okay, I want to know my career.
Yeah.
Where things are going.
Mm-hmm.
I keep getting this feeling like something big is on the horizon for me, but I just don't know what it is, when it's going to be. Yeah. I just want to know, career-wise.
You went through a growth spurt recently of what used to feel like, oh, this is getting almost like burnout and a feeling of I'm so wrapped up in how I'm supposed to be doing this, and kind of that judgment card is back, actually. A little bit of that pushing through judgment. Why is this feeling this way? Should I be feeling differently? Just going through all the feelings. And the good news is I have the Three of Pentacles, which was the first card I pulled. You have an incredible team around you. You have people you trust. You have good people who you can lean on and you can look to for guidance, including spiritually. Your guides are here for you to help you. I have the Queen of Wands for you as well. The Five of Wands, it feels like you kind of have to streamline first to lean in second to whatever. Is there a specific project or something you feel called to share about?
Well, I want to get more into production,
okay.
Producing my own projects, EPing my own shit.
Yeah.
I love hosting. I still want to be hosting, but I really want to get into projects where they can live on their own and I don't necessarily have to be at the forefront of them. Yeah.
You are incredible at using your voice, but it doesn't have to be all about your voice all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to uplift other people's voices.
This is actually really healing for you too, because it's the Six of Wands is here. First of all, it feels like it would be something that makes you feel really proud of yourself.
Yes.
And there also is this element of it's healing because it would be uplifting other people's creativity. It would be serving others in some way and being kind of this gentle, intuitive force for projects rather than the face of projects.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
That's what I'm trying to do.
It's very maternal almost.
That's what I'm trying to do.
You want to work a lot with women, I'm assuming.
I do.
Yeah.
There are a lot of projects that I have in mind that are centered around women. But then everything, of course, that I do in my life is for the bitches. So, yes.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair.
And the gays, of course.
So true. But I think that there's something really, it's almost like a mama bear energy. It's very maternal. It's very giving. So, yes, you're great at empowering and setting people up to feel that confidence. But I think there's a gentler side of you coming forward in your work that you're excited to express. And it's just been a while of being kind of front and center, I think.
I love this for me.
Yeah, I love this for you too.
Exciting. Yay!
Any other questions about it? I'm happy to kind of keep looking.
Yes, of course. I have questions about a bunch of things.
Yeah, please.
I want to know how many kids I'm going to have. Can you tell me that?
Two.
And if they'll be my boyfriend thinks that I'm destined to be a boy mom.
I was just about to say.
What?
You've got yes.
Oh, God.
Yes. You've got plenty of work with the bitches, I swear.
know. And I'm the oldest of 6 girls.
Okay. So you are going to learn a lot when you're a boy mom. Yeah.
I've learned enough. I need to have one girl at least.
I think you could have one of each, but I saw a boy first. Almost immediately.
Really?
Yeah.
You saw 2?
Yeah, 2. You love that?
Wow. I want 3, but...
See, this maternal energy is coming forward. That's beautiful.
Oh my God.
That's exciting.
It's going to be a boy first.
I think
I do want to, if it, yes.
Yeah, King of Pentacles.
What does that
He'll
mean?
be grounded. Don't worry.
Oh, thank God.
Feels very calm.
I
Maybe
need
Taurus.
to track. I'm really like, I told my boyfriend and I have been actively like, okay, when do we need to conceive so that we can make sure that we don't have a Gemini child?
It's so fair. Yeah, my husband's a Gemini. I'm like, we're not doing this.
This is what I'm saying. Like that and like Pisces sun. No.
Yeah, that's the beauty of planning. You can plan that out if you want to.
We've settled on Aries and Scorpio. He's an Aries, I'm a Scorpio. So like,
there you go.
That's
be
all we
open to
want.
an Earth sign. Just be open to it. They're great.
A Virgo man though?
Virgo
I
men,
don't know.
yeah, are hard. Taurus, much better.
I don't want to be arguing with my son all day. But I feel like no matter what, we'll raise them right.
Oh, incredible kids.
Whoever they are.
Yeah. We got to just get you ready for a boy, period.
Oh my God.
It's going to be
He's going to be
beautiful.
so excited to hear this, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow, 2.
It's exciting. You have
I
a
have
lot
two kids on
of
the way.
changes going on.
There's a lot of changes happening in
A
my
lot
life.
of big things.
A lot of traumatic things that I've had to like move through, and I'm just excited for like the next chapter. I feel
Feels
like
like freedom.
I've gone through the part where you were talking about like, you know, the judgment card and being.
You've worked on detaching yourself and your
Yes.
identity and your ego around it. Like, you're good at compartmentalizing. Like, this is for me to hold, and this isn't. Like, this isn't really a reflection of me at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've done a lot of mindset work, it feels like.
I know a lot of everything.
A lot of everything.
Thank you so much, Kate. This
Thank you.
is beautiful.
Thank you so much.
I'm obsessed with this. Please tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Kate Van Horn or katevanhorn.com. My readings are there. My book is The Inner Tarot, wherever books are sold. And thank you so much for having me. I loved this conversation.
Thank you so much. You guys are going to be leaving, but we are going to keep talking.
Oh,
so,
for sure.
bye.